The Haliburton injury is the one storyline, and I'll get your thought on it. But I don't want that, unless it's your headline.
No.
I don't want that to eclipse what has just happened, but it's difficult because there are these two storylines going side by side, aren't they?
I'm going to have a complicated memory of tonight. This is an organic championship for the Thunder. They built this team from scratch. They were down to nothing. They drafted these guys. They developed these guys. Nobody forced their way here via trade. Nobody, they didn't win the lottery. They did this through grit and hard work. They were great from the first moment, the day of the season. They earned this thing all the way through. They are a pure champion, doing it for the first time. Even if they win 2 or 3 more championships with this group, nothing will feel as pure as this. And yet, I feel sick. And I'm not recovered from seeing the slow motion of his calf. And even they won the game in the third quarter with a classic Thunder run.
That's what they do.
With turnovers and the flurry and everything. But as the fourth quarter is happening, and I'm watching the Thunder go through this dry spell, and the Pacers get the lead, I think, to 9 or whatever.
10.
I'm thinking if they had Haliburton, that this is going to go down to it. And
they'd have been thinking the same. They'd have been wondering the same thing, wouldn't they?
I just feel sick about it. You're right. Nothing. I hate it when anybody puts an asterisk on this, because this is a celebration not only of tonight but of the full season, the full build, and everything like that. And I really want to put a hard period and then a paragraph. But this is one, I don't know in 23 years if I've ever felt more personally affected by seeing something on the court.
Why do you think that is?
The Durant injury was terrible. Durant was a 2-time champion. He was a 2-time champion. He had gone to the mountaintop. Paul George. I was in Vegas that night when Paul George. I felt horrible about that. He was able to recover. I was in the building this year when Tatum got hurt. I was in the building for all of those. I felt different about this. This was visceral.
Yeah.
This was visceral. In all honesty, the air came out of the building. The Thunder's intensity level dropped.
There's no doubt. I think it's human nature. I mean, you see the guy go down, and they probably figure that we'll be able to get to the finish line because we'll have enough. And unless you're a fan of, in order, the Bucks, the Cavs, or the Knicks, then the guy took fans on a joyride with what he did. And I understand if you're fans in Milwaukee, Cleveland, and New York, you say, yeah, maybe not so much us. But if you love the game, I don't know how you couldn't love what the man did. And then I said the legs, for him to come out the way he did tonight, it felt like he was ready to show off on the stage. I'm not saying win the game, but certainly
he might have won the game.
They might have.
They were ahead at the half.
I understand.
They were ahead at the half. So I feel like, first off, I just feel terrible for Tyrese and his family, because he knew in that exact moment, you saw, he's saying no, 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 because he knew exactly what happened.
Yep.
He looks behind him for the person that kicked him, like we hear from everybody that this happens to, and he knows what happens, and he can't believe this risk. He is tasting his moment. He has hit 3 3-pointers. They've got the lead. He is having the moment of his life, and it comes with the worst moment of his life because of the risk that he's taken. And so it's absolutely gutting. And I can't get past it right now. I'm not over it as somebody who watches the game. I have no skin in the game, and I can't get over it right now. The whole rest of the first half, my stomach is in knots. I've never felt that way about watching a game before. So I have a very mixed feeling about this, and I don't want to take anything away from the Thunder. They need to be celebrated. They deserve to be celebrated.
And I think you're framing it well. I'm just saying, for me sitting here, I completely relate to what you're saying. I went into the hallway to see that team walk up because I wanted to see it. And I saw a resolute bunch, man. And the things they're saying, can't repeat them all, but you can imagine it's a fiery bunch that believes, okay, we're good. We got all we need to do this. And I thought, right on. That's what you want to see. But the truth of the matter is, 7 games in against this team, you need that guy to win this game. And they didn't have him. And so ultimately, I think it's, this season, if you told me before the playoffs started the Thunder are going to win, I'd say, well, that feels like an appropriate outcome.
Correct.
Based on who they were throughout.
Yeah.
And I would still say as much. But you feel cheated that once you got to this stage of the competition, that it wasn't all our good on all of your good.
The correct team won, but it still feels, it just feels a little bit off, especially because I'm not sure the Pacers are going to get another shot at it. The Thunder are going to get more shots. I'm not sure the Pacers are. And not to do with that injury. It's just a lot of things had to fall into place for them to make this run. And so and he hits those 3 threes. Like, and also, the reason they lost control of the game was because of turnovers, of course.
Third quarter.
He's their best guy. He's their best. He doesn't turn the ball over when he's on his game. So I don't know. This is a tough one to square. It's a tough one.
Well, the beauty of writing is that it's not as immediate as this, so you'll have a time to take a deep breath, clear your thoughts, clear the screen, and then you sit down and you start doing what you do so well, and you write. When you want to write about this Thunder team and what they were from the fall until now the summer, and it's the summer all across the country. Where do you start with this team?
I think it's amazing is the day that the Thunder decided to blow up their team, which was the day they decided to do the Paul George trade. They took the first step towards winning the championship because the night they traded Paul George, they got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I tell this story. When Adrian Wojnarowski broke that news, because it's a shocking news story, okay? It came out in the middle of the night. His story, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's name appears for the first time in the 4th paragraph, Scott. In the 4th paragraph.
Woj, you're burying the lead, Woj.
The guy just won MVP, all the MVPs, all the trophies. By the way, nobody credits him. He did win the Oscar Robertson Trophy, too, for Western Conference MVP. Put that on the mantle. He's got 4 MVPs. He was in the 4th paragraph.
Right.
So to me, that's what really the story of this is. They started to win this championship the day they gave up on their last team. And that is a lesson for the whole NBA. There's for every team that is rising in the league, one must be falling. There's a finite number of wins. Only one team can celebrate. And this was a 5-year journey that got them here, and they didn't skip any steps. And that should be celebrated.
NBA